Let's talk about electrolytes and what happens when you have too much or too little of them in your blood. Today we're going to talk about 3 different electrolytes, beginning with sodium. Having excess amounts of sodium in the blood leads to a condition called hypernatremia. Individuals with hypernatremia often experience water retention, hypertension, and edema. This occurs because water tends to follow salt where it goes. So if you have too much salt in your blood, you're going to hold water in your blood. One way I like to remember this is that salt sucks. So having too much salt in your blood means that you're going to suck a lot of water into your blood, leading to edema, water retention, hypertension. Similar to hypernatremia is a condition called hyponatremia, and this occurs when there's not enough salt in the blood. This often leads to dehydration and can be caused by losing excessive amounts of urine or sweat and replacing it with plain water. Once again, if we use our salt sucks rule, if there's not enough salt in our blood supply, there's not going to be enough water. The next electrolyte we're going to talk about is potassium. Potassium imbalances are mainly based on the rate of potassium rising or falling and are one of the most dangerous imbalances you can have. When a person's potassium concentration in their body rises too quickly, they develop a condition called hyperkalemia. Having a quick rise in potassium in the body can lead to extra excitable cells, which can often lead to contractions. This becomes extremely dangerous when it affects your heart and can often lead to cardiac arrest. In the opposite direction, when potassium drops low very quickly in the body, it's known as hypokalemia. And this leads to cells being less excitable, which often leads to muscle weakness. Now, when it comes to your heart, this is dangerous in the opposite direction where it can lead to heart arrhythmias or irregular heartbeats. Now, to remember this one, I like to think of bananas and cramping, but not in the sense that you would normally think of. Whenever athletes typically get a cramp, they're told to eat bananas, which is interesting because too much potassium can actually lead to cramping. So to remember this, I just think too many bananas leads to cell excitement or cramping. Now let's talk about chloride. Chloride is one of the most abundant salts in our extracellular fluid and is actually used to create our stomach acid. So whenever we see there's a chloride imbalance in the body, we can assume that there is a disruption in our acid-base balances. If you've ever heard of table salt, it's made up of 2 components, sodium and chloride. So as you can probably assume, as sodium fluctuates within the body, chloride will follow. So whenever we experience hypernatremia or too much sodium in the blood, we often experience hyperchloremia alongside it. This is also the same for hyponatremia or not enough sodium in the blood. You'll also experience hypochloremia or not enough chloride in the blood. So whenever we think of chloride, we just think of stomach acid and how disrupting our chloride balance will disrupt our acid-base balance in the blood. Thanks for watching.